Alright, should be recording. Few things to say first. One is, I think this is actually the first video I've done with, the heart rate overlay and such, since I updated OBS, so now I'm using the, RNN, trained neural network thing to, suppress noise, which currently there is no noise, because it's actually kind of cold, so I don't have a fan or something going, but still, using that, so hopefully it should work well. I've been using other places and it seems to work well. The other is doing Nosferatu, which I figure I started doing these movies with Night of the Living Dead, which is one of the classic horror movies that influenced so many. I'm gonna end it. Doing these, it's hard kind of to remember to do them once a month only. It's not like it's not like doing something once a week, or it's like, oh, I'm going to be doing a recording in a game and it's going to take me a few days to do. It's not like that. It's like I need to sit down and somehow make sure I have 2 hours something to do it, and it's not always the easiest thing to remember to do. And also, I don't think they get any views compared to anything else, and none of my stuff gets views. This is even lower. So anyway, I figured this will be a good one to wrap up on, and it's also, I do want to see the film. Never actually watched it, but should be fun, and as I said, it's a classic, so I want to watch it. Alright. I think that's it. Though, before starting it, I'm going to drink water. I am quite thirsty. It's kind of funny because I can still see the heart rate monitor. Looks like my heart rate didn't go weird from getting that drink of water, but it's funny how it went up and then it's come back down. Yeah. Although, okay. It's also weird because, and you can see this, the left where it's red, that's the blood oxygen level. The right is the pulse. So it's just weird because I'm looking over there trying to figure out what it is. Yeah. Because it is an oximeter. That is in fact what I'm using. It's meant for blood oxygen, not specifically for heart rate, but it's, if I remember correctly, because I looked it up once, after like an EKG, it is the best method for measuring heart rate. But like directly measuring the electrical impulses from the natural pacemaker for the heart, that's number one. Anyway, let's actually get to the movie and meet Nosferatu. And yes, it is. I mean, obviously, because I showed the thing, the link. It is up on Internet Archive. It's actually more than one. There's more than one. I picked this one because it has more views to it, so it's like, yeah, at some point I really should read Dracula. Which I also want to say one thing that in the whole watching these movies, another reason why I'm glad I did that was it made a good reason to read Phantom of the Opera finally. Because I'd say that and also Dracula are, and there's others. I actually am working on Frankenstein. They're stories that normally I probably wouldn't be drawn to. And not, I mean, I'll get back to what I mean by that. But they are books I do want to read. It's like they're on that list. And like how there's movies where it's like, I have no interest in actually seeing certain. I'm going to say one. Okay, no, this will be a better one. And I have watched it. The Godfather. On its own, I actually had little interest in seeing it, but it's like, I know this is an influential movie. I know this is an important movie. I should watch it, so I watched it. But there's other movies that it's like, yes, I actually want to sit down and watch that one, and I may watch it multiple times. You can. That's what I mean. With, for example, The Godfather, but also with some of these books, like Phantom of the Opera. I should read Dracula at some point, going through Frankenstein. Not necessarily the books I would sit down to read, but they are books will sit down and choose to read, but they are books that I know are important for various things, such as the films that are derived from them. So sitting down to read them is something I choose to do at some point, but I might never go back and read them. Okay. Oh, and by the way, this video, I quickly started it in Media Player first, just to see how it looked. And it's like a 320 row high, line high video. Which is kind of funny because between that and the compression, butter? I'm guessing, no, I don't know. I do not know what that is. Rudder. I'll go with rudder. But between compression artifacting that is already in the video file and the small size, this video is going to end up being so much. What I'm recording now is going to be so much. That is a very well-behaved cat compared to the ones we have in this house. Man, what a different era in film. I mean, just like the placement of the camera is different. And it kind of makes sense because they're not moving in this. I mean, look at this. And so far the camera hasn't moved, except for like completely different shots. So you could almost be going to a different camera. Today, though, you've got, you know, the dollies and such that can move around, the Steadicam system. And just having to work within this restraint. But I also feel like pointing out, and I did not realize I'm in a talkative mood, but apparently I am, there's always been color in, that was also a single camera shot, because today you could do that potentially with two cameras, one for the wide and one for this shot, the nearer shot. And they didn't, though. You could see how that cut, it didn't line up. Things didn't line up. But the whole thing... Wow, okay. Going to... Guess you should have gotten no chocolates instead. But the whole... There's always been color in films. Now, true, this may have been reprocessed, because I don't know what version, because there'd be multiple versions of where people did go through and restore it and stuff like that. But the sepia tone, that was an actual process. Yeah, that's fairly true. And you could do other things to tinted red, tinted blue, and I think... No, I looked it up. Phantom of the Opera, a remaster of it that was like still in the 30s or whatever, did that. Through all that, but anyway. But yeah, because it's like Phantom of the Opera initially came out in the 20s, and it was like a bit later. They re-released it, and they did some tweaks to it, including it just tinting some of the frames, some of the scenes. So like red and certain spots, blue and others. But here, how you're seeing, like this is sepia, and with the lettering, it's green. And I would not be surprised if we see it no longer be sepia in certain spots. It's like that is... There's always been color, it's just capturing the color. That's where need technological advances. Ooh, Transylvania. Now I'm just thinking, what are the basic features of vampires typically in the lore? Can't cross open water, they can't enter your home unless they're invited. There's the blood drinking. Some of those, like the blood drinking, I want to say people have ascribed that to, if they suspect somebody was a vampire, they open up the casket and they see that there's blood actually dripping out of the mouth. What's actually happened with that, though, is at least what they're pretty sure is actually happening with that, is it's, by the way, I feel like pointing out such clever, it did not look like there was actual, a real written language on that letter. Which, when you think about it, makes a lot of sense. Where you have it be just gibberish symbols, because that way you don't have to worry about one audience trying to read it and another not being able. But the blood from the mouth thing, I think that they figure it was probably when they looked at the bodies that had been decomposing, they were bloated some, because that's what happens as part of the process of decomposing, and fluids would then would just, leak out the mouth there. I'm trying to think if there's any... I know there's the whole people thinking that the hair or your fingernails grow, but they want to say that that's actually your skin receding after death. Oh, there actually is some noise. I just feel like it's raining outside, so hopefully that won't be pretty fun. Okay. That's a great line to give your wife, isn't it? To the land of thieves and ghosts, and I'm so excited. This is just... Yeah, that is her reaction. Why would you ever think that is not going to be your wife's reaction to that, unless she doesn't actually like you? But the crossing of the water, that makes sense as a purity kind of thing, the not being invited into home. That also would make some sense, it's just more of a demonic thing. That you must allow the demon in, they cannot simply enter. I do know that the stake in the heart thing, that's not actually to kill. Vampires, if I remember correctly, the tradition is they are immortal. They straight up cannot be killed. The idea is you're staking them into their coffin so they can't get out. So they cannot be a threat anymore. That's what's happening. But in so much other media, you see it where it's just, oh yeah, drive a stake through the heart, and they're just like standing there and stagger and fall down. It's like, no, that actually wouldn't do anything to them, in theory. I'm pretty sure that the tradition is, no, you're holding them down with that. It's not just this kills. When you think about it, isn't that a lot more terrifying? That no, you can't actually kill this. No, it must be Hutter. Because the character looks the same, and that I'm more confident is Harding than Rarding. I'm sorry, what would that technically... It would be a form of cursive script, but it might have a different name to it. I really hope that sound the rain is coming through, because I can hear it some coming through the headphones, and they're sealed. I don't think it's loud though, I think it's just what the frequency is trapping well. And it is, I'm like 2 feet away from an exterior wall. And there's windows, so and I'm just thinking back to the story of Dracula, like the actual book. I want to say it's a framed narrative, is that what they call it? Where a lot of it is newspaper clipping. That he... So I paused so I could read it. But that it's Bram Stoker basically... Here we go, see? We had sepia, now it's this blue coloring because it's a different location. They were very clever. I want to say that the way Bram Stoker wrote it, in part at least, was by basically writing fake newspaper items. It's a fiction story, so of course it's fake. And that's how they were being told in. I don't know if I could do that with some stories I read. It's like, that just, no. But it's also hard to imagine doing that for me, in part because I don't get the luxury very often of being able to sit down and like, I have so many other things I need to do, like this. And also notice how it changed color again, which could be meant to say outside it's cold, in here it's warm, so we have a warmer color than blue. Oh, that's gonna get a reaction. That's... well, I guess that does make sense. It's the space around the apostrophe or lots. Gap between the K apostrophe and the N. Kind of large. My foot is getting colder. Okay. I'm just... that mustache is... I mean, it's certainly long, but it's also... it is like brushed forward over his lips as opposed to the side. That's another thing that I do recall for the tradition with vampires, is that they can change shape, but not just into bats, they can also become werewolves. I think there might be one other thing. So we're back outside, so we have the blue. Actually look like a hyena then a wolf, just as a pattern. Yeah, that's... I don't think wolves have patterns like that. And the ears also look different. It could also be some kind of dog. That is not, or kind of wolf, I don't know. It's not like I'm an expert on any of those. Now I'm kind of wondering, what was the largest orchestra, more or less, that accompanied a film back before you had the synchronized audio playback? And synchronized recording. Because that's another thing, that there was always music to go with films, at least fairly often there was. It's just they had to play it. They had to play it live, so you'd actually have, in some cases, a piano, and somebody playing the piano up there with the music, the sheet of music, and so here it's cursed earth, whereas in the tradition I'm more familiar with, it's the earth of the land you were buried in. And that doesn't describe Nosferatu as having been alive and then dead, and then died and became... but just could be a straight-up demon on its own. And I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, with the piano. You would have people playing a piano off to the side, and they'd be, paying attention to the film where it is, and their sheet music would help tell them, like, you're supposed to play this music then, this music. I really hope I'm remembering my history correctly with that sort of stuff. And by the way, see, color change again because it's dawn, so we have a redder tint to it. And outside, which could also be to show that it's the sunlight is what's lighting inside, in addition to it being warmer than last night when it was blue. Oh, well, that's just rude. That guy's really excited. I kinda wonder how hard it would be today. Like, do people even... Oh. Yeah, it actually shouldn't be that hard to have, like, live orchestral accompaniment for a movie where the soundtrack is played live. Well, actually, yeah, there are some films that they will do that. But no, because they already have to record the orchestral portion, in a studio with the music, with the movie playing, so they can make sure things line up properly. But it still would be interesting to actually attend a new release where that's how it was being done. One nice thing of, going outside Cleveland Orchestra, they may have done Ghostbusters that way. They've done other films as well, but I think they haven't. Oh, hang on, let me get my stuff. Yeah, I gotta ask you, what are you? Alfred Hitchcock, I want to say, got his start, not with these necessarily, but with, he got started in films by writing those. But, well, drawing cards like that, because it was a work of art, and you had to properly paint those cards. And also, there would be some decoration around the sides. We don't have that here. See, that's one of those framed narrative kind of things, is we're getting somebody else's accounting of this. That from him having told them. Frankenstein, by the way, is also like that, where what you're reading is supposed to be what the it's not the captain, but he did charter the ship, was told by Frankenstein, what his story was. And the guy was just writing it all down. Well, I don't have to walk any further. But it is a little weird, the whole... even the horses are covered like that. And they sped up the film so that you're traveling at an unnatural speed. I'm just saying, that's very intentional. This doesn't... It is, but it doesn't look as speed up. Maybe it's just because of the line. It's also inverted. Because it's meant to be squeaky and unnatural. I'm guessing that was just a shot of the valet again. Put the horses and the carriage away. So I've just come out now. Watch. So, okay, that's actually not the valet. That doesn't look like any actual language. I could be very wrong. Oh, that is creepy. I actually kind of wonder if you can get those. You'll be a talking piece. I just had a curious thought cross my mind. Maybe it's the Germanic. But just... like Greco-Roman monsters, not humanoid, typically. But then you get to more European stories. And, well, those still European, but because stories of vampires, the humanoid, werewolves, humanoid, witches, yeah. Some trolls, potentially? Well, no, not really. They vary. Just, I do kind of wonder what caused that. Because, Greco-Roman, you had, like, the Gorgons with the head of snakes. Echidna, Typhon. Okay, true, Nemean lion was an actual lion, so a real thing. Chimera? No, not a real thing. Cerberus or Cerberus, depending on the pronunciation. That's another thing I forgot about the whole vampires not casting a reflection. I got no idea what that would be. Because there are some elements where it's like, okay, you can figure out what the origins are based on certain realities of the time, certain religious views. I got nothing for the lack of a reflection. I think that is known. I just don't know this. Man, this guy, you cannot put this man down. I got wounds on my neck, but hey, there's food. I'm gonna go eat it. I'm gonna enjoy this drink of wine. I'm in the creepiest place I've ever been in my life, and I am happy. I wonder if this place still exists. Because some of the stuff I doubt would have been a set. Just something constructed. I could believe that a lot of it is somewhere that is real that they just got permission to film it. I'm trying to figure out how, because they're lateral and on like the actual larynx. How would you manage that? If it's from a bite, I can't figure that one out. He wants the guy to deliver the letter, I believe. Or at least, get it to the post. Really? You're not going to give him a tip? I mean, even a little bit, just something to express the things besides just saying. I'm sorry, it's just... It is so to the point. Yeah, I would be creeped out if I opened up a door and saw that too. Maybe it's just me. I, have tried to close the door. I'm curious what kind of pipe that is. Why would you walk on the railing? I can understand, wanting to be near the top. But it still seems odd, the whole, I'm gonna go over, get up on the railing, and then walk down. Is he asleep? Interesting. The suggestion there that he's aware of her. Because the whole her facing to the left side and him facing to the right and how it cut back and forth like that. That is actually... Well, I'm fairly confident that is completely the intent. To make you think that he is aware of her or she's aware of him and reaching across all this space. Any ideas? Nope. You can recommend a... I think I already kind of know. I mean, it's like, to me, it's like, I don't think I want to be near this guy. I'm gonna head out, and I'd even say, yeah, just gonna head back there, back home, make sure that all the paperwork is ready for you, maybe get some furniture moved in. Is there a style you like? And we can make sure we get, what you want. We can do that, and then I'll see you when you move in, neighbor. And get the hell out of there. And then maybe find a different place to live as well. Hey, they didn't leave out breakfast. Really? I'm sorry, it's just... I'm not investigating this stuff. Except in a video game, then I'll do it. In real life, nah. Yeah, it's creepy. On the other hand, though, I can appreciate just having a bed that is long enough to lie in. Mine is not quite like that, but I also have this pillow up at the head because I don't like my head being flat, or more likely it angles down some. I like it propped up, so that does take up some space, but still, I can appreciate just having one tailored to me. Just like a coffin. And again, we have this moving with unnatural speed. So there were 6 coffins and he died into the last one himself. Was the door locked? Did I just miss that? I wonder if this is done much today in development. Well, you just use a raft. You don't worry about having powered engines. Just use the flow of the water. So, I'm just wondering about the whole... How are you going to be able to claim the house? Don't you need paperwork and such? And to pay? Wouldn't the LEI have that? Powder have that? see, now that is actually in... It's in German. Ah, experiments, those crazy alchemists. Actually, I don't really remember what Nosferatu was set. Alchemy might have already been out of favor, enough that it's like, no, that just crazy stuff. Also we can just look at it, inspect it ourselves. What? Huh. I just find it interesting that the vat seems relatively clean. Like, not that they were dumped out. That they were not just dumped out of the soil. But more like the soil was there, they put the vats in, and then put the coffin on top, and then just revealed the coffin. Well, move the coffin off to reveal the vat. By the way, there's more than just a Venus fly trap. There are many fly traps. There's more than just that one coniferous. Yeah, when you start hearing some of the stuff with plants, some of them are really creepy. It's like carnivorous plants on its own seems like what the hell are we talking about? He eats bugs. Well, Renfield in Dracula bugs. I'm just assuming that that's what he was doing. He's trying to catch bugs. Could be wrong though. Especially since that's not. There's also one carnivorous plant that's got like a cup to it, and it's just to get the nectar or whatever a bug flies in there, and it just seals up top. So it's still, kind of like the Venus flytrap in that it does capture, but it doesn't look like the Venus flytrap. It looks like a more normal flower. At least I'm pretty sure that's one of them. Yeah, we'd better tie him up. I mean, to be fair, the whole concern of him hurting himself. The letters finally being delivered. At least I'm guessing that's what this is. You know, it's also, yeah, he didn't pay for postage, did he? He didn't give the guy a tip or postage. You know, her wearing black, it's not a positive thing. Would you read it for me? Let me see. That is only 2 minutes, yeah. It does look like there's another one at the front, but I could believe that would not be painted, or that's just a person standing. There's certainly only 2 main ones. As in, this is the one very Nosferatu. Although it could be wrong. Nope. Well. Could we believe that was him crossing? Or is it more to show him having a race? Nosferatu. Yeah, he's racing Nosferatu. That's what this is showing. Because that's the Impuza? Is that the name of it? But yeah, that's the ship carrying coffins, so he's trying to get home before Nosferatu does. Or at least that's what they're setting up visually. Strange scars on the cover. It is hard to make out that R though. Didn't realize Nosferatu was actually an unauthorized and unofficial adaptation of Dracula. It's also Dracula's from 1897, this is from 1920. So that's interesting. Stoker's heirs sued over Nosferatu, and apparently won the suit enough to order all copies be destroyed, but some prints survive. I'm just reading about the film, and one thing that it points out on the Wikipedia page for it is that it's actually one of the earliest examples of a cult film, because, as I mentioned earlier, the court ordered that all prints be destroyed. Obviously, some survived, but it was kept alive by the cult following it had gotten, because people were making copies of the print. His nails longer now? I'm sorry, I'm not walking near that guy. Not with my back to him like that. Okay. So the description earlier about the cursed earth, it was still, they had to be buried in it. It wasn't just this was, curse of death was on this earth and that's why they be transported in it. Okay, I also feel like pointing out, if that is actually full of earth, that's impressive. It's like, that's gonna be really heavy. If it's just empty, then that would not. Hey, he's home. And I know it's at night, but it still is. You'd think somebody would just be looking out, or is in fact out and is going back, and just sees a guy walking around carrying a coffin, and would be like, what the hell is going on here? No, it also seems interesting, the idea that the vampire needs a home in England. Well, I guess maybe not England, but in Dracula, he's trying to get to England. But we haven't seen Hutter cross water, at least I don't recall. But anyway. Because, you'd think he could just, bring the coffin over there. He doesn't need his own house, but I don't know, maybe there's a requirement. It is also impressive that he somehow just knows where the house is. I was like, he's never been here before, but somehow he knows a good enough layout to be able to find that small boat and cross this water to get to. And it's the middle of the night as well. Is that Harding? Yeah, it looks like him. The guy that Ellen was staying with. Now, this may seem like a weird question. Is there such thing as a dead soul? It's like not a living soul. It's like, can it be a dead soul? It's like, is that actually a thing? I would think that the state of a soul is living. So it's redundant. Well, it's unnecessary. It's not redundant, but it is unnecessary to say it's a living soul. It's not like a body, which can be alive or dead. Either way, though, it's still a body. But it's like, what would a dead soul be? Because doesn't that not really exist? I don't know. It just seems odd that thing. And this would, I assume, just be the captain's log. The guy's checking it to figure out what went on, what happened. There we go. Don't you hate it when you do that? When it's like you got two similar thoughts in your mind to say, and your tongue just decides, I'm gonna switch and start saying the other one. We don't know what killed him. There's concerns of the plague. Let's get everyone around. Interesting. So in one day, I didn't get that with what I was saying, that it just took one day for everyone to get sick and die, except for the captain. Yeah, quick! You have to get home! I could see this being more effective than a town crier. Or, no, maybe he is a town crier. That's just how he's getting people to pay attention to him. But I was thinking it might be that he's actually, like, signaling, quarantine, quarantine, quarantine. Boy, does this sound familiar. And I'm sure a lot of people would say, we got vampires now? That sounds about right for 2020. You delivered the message. You really have to keep, working the thing. I was just thinking you go to the next spot and then you start playing. hoping for some explanation of this. I'm just... He stole the book on vampires, right? That was at the end. I mean, first he hurled it to the ground, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'll just keep that in my sack. I mean, yeah, that's a... It just... Also, you could have fit it... Well, okay, alright. You could have fit Elixir up on that previous line, but... Oh, I don't remember what it's called. But there is... Like in LaTeX, I know you can set stuff up to avoid an orphan line. So that's like the line, the last line to the paragraph. If it gets cut off, such that it would be on the next page, you can actually set it so that it basically won't tolerate that and will extend the margin so it'll be put onto the previous page with the rest of the paragraph. Okay. So it's basically innocent maiden tricking them to not realize that it's going to be more. But I think there is also a setting, or at least a concept in typesetting, where to avoid having too few words or too few characters on a line, you would move a word down. So the fact that Elixir could be up higher but is instead down, like that would actually be the decision of the typesetter to, so it doesn't look like, oh, there's just, these two very short words there. Since it was of life, so a total of 8 characters. 6 are letters, 1 space, 1 period. So we're gonna see, the Renfield character. The one who, was eating the bugs. Who, sees Nosferatu as his master. What happened to him? He broke out, but I don't know where he is. Yeah, this really sounded familiar. So that would be the Harding. I'm just guessing Seedus would be the Doctor. And that does seem like a poor place to put a king. You're not a very effective servant, are you? You don't need a bell. I mean, at some point, get a wagon. Have fewer people having to carry the coffin. Okay. Knock, that's the guy I was asking about. But I just... So, Nosferatu are common enough that you've already been able to determine what the method is of destroying one. And then commit it to a book. Man, you do not want to live in the past, do you? Because it's like, we got enough monsters, we have books on how to kill them. You don't know what it's like now. You people living in the 21st century. It's like, we had to figure out how to kill our monsters ourselves. We couldn't just look it up. You know, that would actually be an interesting concept to a video game. Where you have enemies, and it changes what their weaknesses are every time. And even like within the same game, that would be interesting. Like, oh, sometimes you have to hit it with a sword. Sometimes you have to hit it in the right spot. Sometimes you have to use arrows. I mean, just, that could be interesting. It's like, you have to figure out for yourself. Because it's also, there are certain enemies that you do kind of already have a sense of how you're supposed to, just being the common enough names, it's like, oh yeah, this is what you should do. Even things as simple as, in a first-person shooter, a larger enemy, especially if it is melee, if it doesn't have range, you use a shotgun on. Wow. I mean, I would think pen and paper would be easier and faster. But I mean, hey, if that's how you want to share that message, share it. Yeah, so sometimes you have too many people. That would be one of those times. The heck is it? I'm sorry, that's just such a weird looking shot. I don't think that... Oh, no. Oh, okay, I see. It's a scarecrow. Got it. Because it didn't look right at all, but that's why. It's a scarecrow. And see... This is what I mean by too many people. Now you got people that are just distracted trying to deal with that. It's like, no. You see it's scarecrow, you pick it up, you throw it down so it doesn't confuse anyone else, and then you keep going. You don't trample it. You don't waste your time on that. You get going. He's sleeping in the chair, and it looks like he's still clothed. If it's been figured out how to deal with Nosferatu by humans well enough to write it down and publish a book, you'd think they'd have figured it out too. Like, oh, this is what kills us? Maybe we shouldn't do this. Nope, now I'm gonna wake him up. Because this is serious. Bueller? I'm not sure how that one would be pronounced. I already got trouble pronouncing W's, that's what my speech impediment did. Although, wait a minute. Was that a W? Could that have been a V? No, it was a W. I'm just trying to remember my cursive V's and W. It's N's and M's that have like the extra loop to them. In V's and W's, it's just that there's that hook to go into the next letter. And if you're really messy, that ends up making a V look like a W. I think that's right. Man, it's been a while since I've had to write some of that stuff. My handwriting's not good. That's why I type most. And when I do have to write things, I print. Well, that's only one way to indicate the power of the Nosferatu. You know, the shadow over the heart and then grasping it like that. I actually kind of like that way better than some that you might see today where they can get more advanced, more complicated with it. Because it's like, you know, this is just, it's real. You know, it's not some special CG, it's literally we set up a light and just have the actor or actress just react to the shadow, just pay attention to that and then do it. And that is a myth. They just grow whenever, it's not at sunlight. Is he aware that the Nosferatu's in danger? And you don't want him falling and hurting himself. Okay, isn't that actually a problem? Because that means that this is north. We're looking north. So sun's in the south. There's not going to be light coming in for a bit anyway to hit him. Oh, also we got, well, there's not much to do, but we don't have a flash. Of course she's alive. She's a virtuous character. They always live. Even in horror. I was actually talking about that with my brother earlier today. Just the whole, a lot of classic horror films are morality plays, and that's the virtuous characters that I talked about that in Attack of the Giant Legion as well. That it so often it's the virtuous characters that will survive; it's the other ones that will be killed. Although in this case, oh no, maybe she is dead, but she lived long enough for that. So I guess the point I was making. Oh, and who is this guy? Well, in many cases, sunlight does work as a very effective disinfectant. Okay. I think they also did the Metropolis remaster that I do have. Okay, they did perform new music. Compose and perform new music. Yeah, that was one thing that I read that was interesting. The original score is basically lost, so we don't really know what it was supposed to be. Uh, um, but various people over the years have written scores for it. But yeah. Anyway, that was interesting. I think a nice way to end this experiment with the films. Some point out later today, hopefully I'll be doing some more game recording because I do need that. I have like 3 weeks, but it's man, work just manifests for me. It just does. But it's right now I'm in a little bit of a lull. I doubt it'll last long, so I gotta do what I can as soon as I can. Alright. Well, that was Nosferatu. That's also probably the last of these the body on movies. Yeah. So hopefully if you're enjoying these you don't miss them much. Sorry. It just like I explained at the beginning, it's a weird thing to remember to schedule like 2 hours or more to get it to set aside to do for this. It's much easier to say, oh yeah, I'll spend the next 3 days playing a game. I don't know why. It's one of those really small things that's easy to schedule, really long things easy to schedule because you can either fit them in any time or you can just block out a whole long period of time. But it's those medium things because you're trying to fit it between the long things and same time decide what small things I can just skip kind of thing. I mean, scheduling is an art and I'm not always good at it. Sometimes. Anyway, see ya.